I'm 65. I don't hate people. I find peace in solitude more than in socializing. At this stage in life, priorities shift, and for many of us, the joy of quiet moments outweighs the pull of constant interaction. Have you noticed how much more fulfilling solitude can feel as you age? You're not alone. For those of us in our 60s, finding peace in being alone is less about rejecting others and more about embracing ourselves. In this video, I'll share why choosing solitude isn't a sign of loneliness or bitterness, but a way to protect your peace, your energy, and your happiness. You'll discover insights into how aging changes relationships, social priorities, and even how we define joy. If this resonates with you, stay tuned. You might just find the validation and encouragement you need to embrace this phase of life with confidence. 1. Key life lessons from aging. As we grow older, life teaches us lessons that we couldn't understand in our youth. One of the biggest revelations I've had is this: not every relationship is worth holding on to. When I was younger, I believed in the goodness of everyone. I thought that with enough kindness, patience, and effort, any relationship could thrive. But over the years, life showed me something different. Not everyone shares the same heart, intentions, or values. I've been let down by people I trusted, taken advantage of by those I helped, and left questioning how I misjudged them so badly. It's not easy to face, but these experiences didn't make me bitter. They made me wiser. I've learned that it's okay to let go of relationships that drain you. Some people come into our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Clinging to someone meant to teach you a lesson is like holding onto a chapter in a book you've already finished. It's painful, but letting go is essential. Another lesson is this: you can't pour from an empty cup. For much of my life, I believed being a good person meant always putting others first. But I overextended myself, giving and giving until there was nothing left for me. Now I know that self-care isn't selfish. It's vital. If you want to be there for others, you must first take care of yourself. And the best relationships? They're mutual. They're built on equal give and take. If you find yourself doing all the giving while the other person takes, it's time to reevaluate. True connections are about sharing, not sacrificing your peace for someone else's benefit. Aging has also taught me the beauty of simplicity. Happiness isn't about grand achievements or a busy calendar. It's about the quiet, small moments. It's the warmth of sunlight on your face, the comfort of a favorite chair, or the laughter shared with someone who truly cares. If you're in your 60s or beyond, remember this: life is too precious to waste on relationships or habits that don't nourish you. Focus on what brings you peace and joy. Protect your energy, embrace the people who uplift you, and let go of anything that pulls you down. This is your time. Live it well. 2. Redefining happiness and setting boundaries. As I've grown older, I've realized that happiness isn't what I thought it was in my younger years. Back then, it was all about the noise, the excitement of crowded parties, the thrill of achieving something big, or the rush of being surrounded by people. But as time passed, I discovered that true happiness often lives in the quiet moments. Happiness today is simpler, but far more meaningful. It's sipping a warm cup of tea while watching the sunset. It's the peace of knowing I don't owe my time or energy to anyone unless I choose to. That's a powerful shift, recognizing that you are in control of your time and how you spend it. One way I protect this newfound peace is by setting boundaries. When I was younger, I thought saying no made me a bad person. I'd stretch myself thin to be everything for everyone. But here's the truth. Setting boundaries isn't about shutting people out. It's about safeguarding your well-being and showing respect for your own needs. When you say no, you're not rejecting someone. You're honoring yourself. You're teaching others how to treat you, and in turn, creating space for healthier, more respectful relationships. The people who truly value you will understand, and those who don't, they were never meant to stay. Another thing I've learned is that not all relationships are meant to last, and that's okay. Friendships that no longer bring joy, or connections that feel one-sided, are worth letting go. It's not about being harsh, it's about choosing quality over quantity. As we age, our energy becomes one of our most valuable resources. Spend it wisely, focus on relationships that uplift you, and let go of those that drain you. Protect your time as fiercely as you would your health, because it's just as important. Happiness in this stage of life isn't about impressing others or meeting their expectations. It's about finding peace within yourself. It's about embracing simplicity, cherishing the little things, and being unapologetically selective about where you invest your time and energy. Remember, it's never too late to redefine what happiness means to you. This is your time. Choose peace, choose joy, and choose yourself. 3. Finding solitude as a blessing. When I was younger, being alone felt almost unbearable. I associated solitude with loneliness, a lack of connection, or even failure. But as I've aged, I've come to see solitude in a completely different light. Now it feels like a gift, a sacred space where peace, clarity, and self-discovery reside. In solitude, I've learned to reconnect with myself. Life is full of noise, expectations, obligations, and the endless chatter of the world. But when everything quiets down, you're left with one person, yourself. At first, that realization can be uncomfortable, even unsettling. But over time, I found it liberating. Solitude isn't about being cut off from others. It's about creating space to listen to your own heart and reflect on what truly matters. When the world grows still, you begin to hear your thoughts clearly. You start to understand what you need to let go of and what deserves more of your energy. Some of my happiest moments now are the simplest ones, sitting on my porch with a cup of tea, listening to the birds sing, or watching the sunlight dance across the walls. These quiet joys have taught me that life's beauty often lies in its stillness, not its noise. Solitude also gives me the freedom to exist without pretense. There's no pressure to entertain, impress, or meet anyone else's expectations. It's just me being myself. And that's enough. This doesn't mean I've turned my back on relationships. I still value the meaningful connections in my life, but I approach them differently now. I no longer feel the need to fill every moment with company or chase after relationships that drain me. Instead, I choose depth over quantity and make room for the peace that solitude brings. For those of you struggling to embrace being alone, I'll say this. Solitude isn't something to fear. It's a chance to recharge, to reflect, and to rediscover yourself. It's where you'll find the clarity to see what truly matters and the strength to live authentically. Remember, solitude isn't loneliness, it's freedom. And in that freedom, you might just find the joy you've been searching for all along. 4. Shifting social connections. As I've gotten older, I've realized that socializing feels different now. It's not about avoiding people or disliking them. It's about recognizing that not all connections are created equal. The truth is, The way we approach relationships evolves with age, and that's a good thing. When I was younger, my days were packed with interactions, work meetings, family gatherings, casual conversations with neighbors, and events with friends. Back then, I rarely stopped to ask if those interactions truly enriched my life. I just assumed that being busy and surrounded by people was the hallmark of happiness. Now, at this stage of life, I see things more clearly. Socializing isn't about filling your schedule or meeting expectations anymore. It's about meaningful connections, the ones that bring joy and add value to your life. And those are far rarer than I once thought. Not every conversation is worth having, and not every relationship is worth keeping. There's an emotional toll that comes with shallow exchanges or draining dynamics. As I've grown older, I've become more protective of my time and energy. I've learned to focus on relationships that nourish my soul rather than deplete it. Another thing I've noticed is that socializing requires more energy than it used to. Engaging in conversations, listening deeply, and empathizing with others, it all takes effort. When I was younger, I had the energy to jump from one interaction to the next without thinking. Now, I have to choose more carefully where I invest my attention. This doesn't mean I've abandoned relationships. It means I've redefined them. I no longer chase after every social opportunity or cling to connections out of guilt. Instead, I prioritize depth over quantity. A heartfelt conversation with a close friend means more to me now than an entire evening spent at a crowded event. For those of you in your 60s or beyond, here's something I've learned. It's okay to let go of social obligations that don't bring you peace. Focus on the relationships that matter most, the ones built on respect, understanding, and love. In doing so, you'll find more time for yourself and for the connections that truly make life meaningful. Socializing may look different as you age, but that's not a loss. It's a transformation, and it brings a deeper, more intentional sense of connection. 5. Trust as a lifelong lesson. Trust is one of the most fragile, yet essential parts of life. When we're young, we give it freely, believing in the goodness of others. But as we grow older, we learn that trust must be earned. This isn't a negative shift. It's a necessary one, shaped by the experiences that life inevitably brings. I've faced my share of betrayals and disappointments. Friends I thought would stand by me drifted away when things got tough. Promises were broken, and people I trusted revealed sides of themselves I never expected. These moments hurt deeply, but they also taught me valuable lessons about the nature of trust. One of the most important things I've learned is that not everyone is capable of meeting the same standards of trustworthiness. This isn't a judgment, it's a fact of life. Some people struggle with consistency or reliability, while others may act out of selfishness, even if they don't mean harm. Recognizing this has allowed me to let go of resentment and focus on surrounding myself with people who align with my values. At 65 and beyond, trust looks different than it did in my younger years. I no longer feel the need to give it freely to everyone I meet. Instead, I've become more discerning, allowing people to show me through their actions that they deserve a place in my life. This slower, more intentional approach has brought me peace. I've also learned to balance trust with self-reliance. While I value the small circle of people who have proven themselves over time, I've come to understand that the one person I can always count on is myself. Building this inner strength has been one of the greatest gifts of aging. For those in your later years, I encourage you to view trust not as something to fear, but as something precious to be offered carefully. Focus on cultivating relationships with people who enrich your life and reciprocate your efforts. And above all, learn to trust yourself. Trust may change as we age, but that change is not a loss, it's a refinement. And when trust is earned and nurtured, it becomes even more meaningful. A powerful reminder that genuine connection is always possible. 6. Lessons gained from the pandemic. The pandemic was a turning point for all of us, but for me, it brought an unexpected gift: clarity. At first, the stillness felt jarring. Life, which had always been a blur of activity, suddenly came to a halt. Social gatherings, casual visits, and even the hustle of daily errands disappeared. But in that stillness, I discovered something I hadn't realized I was missing: peace. Before the pandemic, I thought being busy meant being purposeful. There was always something to do, somewhere to go, or someone to see. But when the world slowed down, I finally had the space to reflect. I noticed things I hadn't paid attention to in years: the way sunlight filtered through my windows, the rhythm of birdsong in the morning, or the quiet hum of my own thoughts. These simple moments reminded me of the beauty that exists when we pause and truly pay attention. The pandemic also reshaped how I view relationships. With social distancing and lockdowns, I couldn't rely on the usual ways of connecting. Family gatherings and casual chats became rare. At first, I felt the absence deeply, but as time passed, I realized that what I missed wasn't the quantity of interactions, but their quality. Phone calls with close friends, handwritten letters from loved ones, or even moments of silent prayer became more meaningful than ever before. These small yet profound connections replaced the surface-level interactions I once thought were necessary. This time of isolation also taught me how much I enjoy my own company. I had always filled my days with people and activities, often out of habit, but being alone during the pandemic forced me to confront myself, and I found comfort in the quiet. If there's one lesson I want to share, it's this: you don't need to fill your life with noise to feel fulfilled. The pandemic taught me that peace isn't found in constant activity, but in appreciating the present moment. As life moves forward, I carry this clarity with me. I've become more selective with my time, prioritizing what truly matters. The pandemic, despite its challenges, gave me a gift: a deeper understanding of myself and the relationships I value most. And for that, I am grateful. 7. Rediscovering what truly matters. Aging has a way of helping us focus on what truly matters. In my younger years, I was constantly busy, juggling work, raising children, maintaining relationships, and trying to live up to expectations. I believed productivity equaled purpose, and busyness was the measure of success. But over time, I've come to see the cracks in that way of thinking. Now, at this stage in life, I realize the things that bring true joy aren't tied to accomplishments, possessions, or how packed my schedule is. They're found in the small, meaningful moments that are often overlooked. It's the warmth of a grandchild's hug, the sound of rain tapping against the window, or the satisfaction of a favorite meal made with care. These simple experiences are where the beauty of life lies. Part of this journey has been learning to let go of what no longer serves me, whether it's people, expectations, or even parts of myself. This hasn't been easy. Letting go often brings a sense of grief, especially when it involves saying goodbye to relationships or old versions of who you thought you were. But on the other side of that grief is incredible freedom. Today, I no longer feel the need to prove myself to anyone or keep up with others. My days aren't defined by how much I get done or how many people I please. Instead, they're shaped by how present and fulfilled I feel. This simplicity has also changed how I view relationships. I no longer cling to connections that feel forced or draining. Instead, I nurture those who bring light into my life, people who understand me, accept me, and bring genuine joy. These relationships may be fewer in number, but they're far richer in quality. For anyone in their 60s or beyond, my advice is this: pause and reflect on what truly matters to you. Life becomes so much richer when you let go of distractions and focus on the people, moments, and experiences that bring you peace. The greatest gift of aging isn't the years we've lived, it's the clarity we gain about how to live the years we have left. Prioritize what brings joy and don't waste time on what doesn't. This is your time to embrace simplicity and live fully. 8. Aging as a path to authentic living. As we age, we often find ourselves reflecting on what it means to live authentically. In our younger years, life feels like a race, a constant push to achieve, impress, and meet the expectations of others. But with time, we begin to see things differently. Aging isn't about slowing down in defeat. It's about stepping off the track and finding clarity about what really matters. Living authentically means letting go of the need to please everyone. For years, I lived under the weight of other people's expectations, what a good parent, friend, or colleague should do. But as I've grown older, I've realized those expectations often have little to do with who I truly am. Now, I embrace the freedom to live life on my own terms. This stage of life is a gift, an invitation to strip away the distractions and focus on what brings peace and fulfillment. It's not about withdrawing from the world, but engaging with it in a way that feels true to you. For me, that means prioritizing the relationships, activities, and moments that genuinely bring joy. There's incredible freedom in saying no without guilt. Whether it's declining a social obligation or stepping back from a draining relationship, every decision to protect your peace is a step toward authenticity. It's a reminder that you don't have to live your life according to someone else's rules. Aging also brings a deeper acceptance of who we are. We stop chasing perfection and start appreciating the beauty of imperfection. The wrinkles, the gray hairs, and the quieter pace of life aren't signs of decline. They're proof of a life well lived. If you're in your 60s or beyond, I encourage you to embrace this chapter of life fully. Let go of the need to compare yourself to others or meet external standards. Focus instead on what feels right for you. Living authentically isn't always easy, but it's worth it. It allows you to connect with yourself and the world in a more meaningful way. And the peace that comes with it, that's one of the greatest gifts aging can offer. Remember, this is your time to live boldly and unapologetically as your truest self. Don't waste it trying to be anything else. In conclusion, aging is a journey of transformation, and embracing solitude is a powerful part of that process. First, life's lessons teach us to focus on meaningful relationships while letting go of what drains us. Second, happiness shifts from loud, busy moments to the quiet joys of simplicity. Third, solitude becomes a blessing, offering clarity and peace. Fourth, social connections evolve, prioritizing depth over quantity. Fifth, trust becomes more deliberate and earned. Sixth, the pandemic taught us to find joy in stillness and reflection. Seventh, we rediscover what truly matters by letting go of unnecessary distractions. And finally, aging invites us to live more authentically embracing who we are without guilt or apology. These signs remind us that solitude isn't loneliness. It's an opportunity to recharge, reflect, and embrace life on our own terms. If this resonates with you, like this video, share your thoughts and subscribe for more content that celebrates this stage of life.